A woman who plays games with you isn't just testing your patience. She's testing your limits, your emotional control, and your ability to stay grounded. She wants to see how much you'll tolerate, how far she can push you, and if you'll keep chasing when she pulls away. She expects you to plead, to question. But when you do the opposite, when you go silent, when you invest in yourself instead of her, that's when she starts to feel the weight of her own choices. She becomes the one wondering, the one replaying past moments, the one checking her phone for messages that never come. Today, we're breaking down how to reclaim your power, not through manipulation, but through self-mastery. When you embody true Stoic discipline, you don't need revenge. You let time and absence do the work for you. Let's dive into how you can detach, regain control, and let her feel what it's like when the man she thought she had figured out suddenly becomes a mystery. Number 1. The power shift begins. You used to play by her rules. You'd text first, wait for her responses, and put her on a pedestal. But now, that's over. A Stoic man doesn't beg. He doesn't chase. He moves forward. Not because he's playing games, but because he values himself too much to be someone's pawn. And that's the difference. She expected you to keep playing along, to be the one waiting, hoping, proving yourself. But the moment you step back, that's when the game flips. Now she feels the void you left behind. At first, she might not admit it. She'll act indifferent, maybe even try to make it seem like she never cared. But deep down, the absence stings. She thought you'd always be available, that she could pull you back in whenever she wanted. Now she's questioning everything. Women don't miss a man who chases them. They miss the man who knew when to walk away. When you pull back, it forces her to see what she lost. The same attention she once dismissed is suddenly something she craves. That's human nature. People only value what they feel slipping away. And here's where the Stoic mindset keeps you in control. You're not waiting for her reaction. You're not sitting by your phone, hoping she comes back. You are unbothered, emotionally disciplined, focused on your own path. That's what really gets to her. Not your silence, but the fact that your silence isn't an act. It's your reality. She'll test you. Maybe she'll post things to get your attention, send a casual, "How have you been?" text, or try to make you jealous. But you don't play into it. Why? Because a high-value man doesn't get sucked back into someone else's games. He sets the terms. If she wants back in, it won't be on her conditions. It will be on yours. This isn't revenge. This isn't manipulation. This is balance. You invested in her. You gave her your time, your energy. She took it for granted. Now she gets to feel what it's like without it. And that feeling, that's what lingers. That's what makes her suffer. Number 2, your most lethal weapon. Instead of arguing, explaining yourself, or seeking closure that she was never going to give you, you say nothing. That's when the real power shifts. That's when she starts overthinking. At first, she might act like she doesn't care, like your absence doesn't affect her. But silence has a way of creeping in. It lingers in the back of her mind, forcing her to confront the one thing she never expected: your detachment. You were once predictable, always ready to respond, always eager to engage. Now, you've become a mystery, and nothing is more unsettling than the unknown. Epictetus taught us, the more you control your tongue, the more you control the situation. A man of few words is a man of power, because words can be challenged, dismissed, or ignored. But silence? Silence forces reflection. It makes her question everything. Was she wrong? Did she misjudge you? Why aren't you chasing her like before? Most men react. They beg for explanations, demand answers, try to argue their worth. But a Stoic man? He understands that true strength lies in restraint. When you don't give her the reaction she expected, she's left with nothing but her own thoughts. And that is what makes her suffer. She once had control because she knew you wanted her. She played games because she thought you would always participate. But now, the game is over, and she's playing against herself. That's when the regret sets in. That's when she realizes that the power she once had over you is gone. And you? You're not watching. You're not waiting. You're moving forward. Because the man who masters silence masters himself. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this approach. Does the power of silence resonate with you? Or perhaps you have a different perspective on handling such situations? Encourage discussion by hitting the like button, leaving a comment below, or simply typing "Silence Speaks" to share your insights. Your engagement helps us delve deeper into these conversations, bringing more value to our community. Let's explore together the profound impact of our actions or inactions on the dynamics of relationships. Number 3, indifference, the ultimate revenge. A woman thrives on attention. Take it away, and she'll crave it like oxygen. The moment you stop giving her the validation she once took for granted, she feels it. At first, she might brush it off, thinking you'll come back, like before. But then, the silence stretches. The absence grows heavier. She scrolls through her messages and finds nothing from you. She checks your social media, expecting a hint of frustration, maybe even a post meant to get her attention. But there's nothing. That's when it starts to bother her. You're no longer emotionally invested, and she senses that shift like a storm rolling in. The control she once had over your emotions? Gone. And that's what unsettles her the most. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Real power is in how little her actions affect you. This is the core of true masculinity, true strength. She expected you to react, to fight for her, to make it known that you miss her. But instead, you remain unmoved. And that drives her crazy. Most men panic when a woman pulls back. They flood her with texts, try to convince her of their worth, or get emotional. But a Stoic man? He understands that real power is found in restraint. He doesn't need to force an outcome because he knows his value isn't dependent on her recognition. He walks away without bitterness, without resentment, just pure, unshakable self-respect. She might try to provoke a reaction. Maybe she posts pictures with someone else. Maybe she throws subtle jabs your way, hoping you'll take the bait. But you remain indifferent. Not because you're playing games, but because you genuinely don't need her validation anymore. And that's when the dynamic shifts completely. She realizes she's no longer in control. She thought she could toy with your emotions, but now she's the one caught in the game. She craves the attention you once gave her, and yet, no matter what she does, she can't seem to get it back. That's when she suffers. Because the moment a woman realizes she's lost a man who truly understood his worth, she also realizes that no one else will put her on that pedestal again. Number 4, scarcity creates value. When something is always available, it loses value. But when it's rare, people fight for it. That's just human nature. The moment something becomes scarce, we start to desire it more. And when it comes to relationships, it's no different. A woman only truly begins to appreciate a man when she feels the weight of his absence. Seneca warned against being too accessible. When you're always there, she takes you for granted. She assumes she can ignore your messages, play hot and cold, and you'll still be waiting. But when you disappear, when you pull back and stop seeking her validation, she starts to miss what she once had. That's when the game changes. At first, she might act unaffected. She might even pretend she's relieved. But as the days go by and she no longer feels your presence, doubt begins to creep in. Suddenly, she's checking your social media, scrolling through old messages, wondering if she made a mistake. She sees you moving forward, unbothered, living your life without her. And that's when it stings the most. She thought she had control. She thought she could decide when and how you'd be in her life. But now, she's realizing the truth. A high-value man isn't someone you can take for granted. He's a rare breed. A man who knows his worth doesn't beg to be noticed. He doesn't chase. He lets his absence do the talking. And that absence, that silence, it's louder than any argument, any desperate plea, any attempt to explain your worth. It forces her to reflect, to question, to wonder if she made the wrong choice. That's the moment she suffers. Not because you're punishing her, but because she finally understands what she lost. And you? You're already gone, focused on your purpose, knowing that the right people will recognize your value without needing to be convinced. I invite you to pause and consider the weight of absence and its role in appreciation. Does the idea of becoming less accessible resonate with your experiences, or does it challenge your perspective on relationships? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Whether you agree, disagree, or have a unique take on Seneca's advice, your insights enrich our discussion and help us all grow. Reflect on the times you felt more valued after stepping back, and let's dive into how scarcity impacts our connections. Number 5. The return of self-respect. Before, you sought her validation. Now, you validate yourself. You used to wait for her approval, her attention, her affection, thinking that her recognition would somehow complete you. But now, you've woken up. You've realized that the only validation that truly matters is your own. A Stoic man doesn't look to a woman to define his worth. He builds himself. He invests in his growth, his mission, his peace. The moment you shift your focus inward, everything changes. You no longer waste time overanalyzing her words, waiting for her to text back, or wondering what she thinks of you. Instead, you channel that energy into becoming stronger, sharper, and more disciplined. You hit the gym, refine your skills, focus on your goals. You become the man who doesn't just talk about self-improvement, he embodies it. And here's the paradox. The more you respect yourself, the more she starts to respect you too. Women can sense when a man is centered, when he's no longer emotionally dependent on them. It unsettles them. She expected you to keep playing her game, to keep seeking her validation. But now, she sees something different. She sees a man who doesn't need her approval. That's when the dynamic shifts. She starts to wonder why you aren't chasing anymore, why you're not affected by her the way you once were. She feels the change in energy, and suddenly, it's her turn to seek your attention. This isn't about revenge or manipulation. This is about reclaiming your power, about recognizing that the moment you put yourself first, the world starts to see you differently. Women don't truly desire men who grovel for their affection. They desire men who stand firm, who lead, who have purpose. And when you become that man, respect follows, not just from her, but from everyone around you. And you? You no longer concern yourself with whether she notices, because at this point, her recognition is just a byproduct of the work you've already done. You've already won. Number 6. Your growth is her punishment. You're no longer waiting for her texts. You're too busy leveling up. There was a time when your mood depended on whether she responded, when you checked your phone, hoping to see her name pop up. You lived in anticipation, stuck in the uncertainty of whether you mattered enough to her. But that version of you is gone. You've stepped into a different mindset now, one where your energy is too valuable to be wasted on someone who played games. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters." She may have taken you for granted, ignored your efforts, or tested your patience. But instead of dwelling on it, instead of trying to prove yourself to her, you do the one thing she never expected. You focus on your grind. You redirect all that time and emotion into becoming sharper, stronger, and more disciplined. While she's busy scrolling through social media, checking if you're still thinking about her, you're out there putting in work. You're in the gym, pushing past limits, building skills that set you apart, surrounding yourself with people who add value to your life. You're becoming the kind of man who doesn't chase approval, because he already knows his worth. And that's when it hits her. The better you become, the more she realizes what she lost. She expected you to linger, to wait, to keep the door open. She thought she had all the time in the world, that she could come and go as she pleased. But now she sees a man who didn't just move on. He upgraded. She starts to wonder if she miscalculated, if she underestimated you. And nothing haunts a woman more than the thought of a man she once had becoming someone she can no longer reach. This isn't about proving anything to her. It's not about revenge or making her regret. It's about elevating yourself so much that regret becomes inevitable. Because a man on his purpose, a man who keeps improving, will always be more attractive than the one who stands still, waiting for her to notice. And by the time she does, you'll be too far ahead to care. That's the paradox. When you needed her validation, she could afford to ignore you. But when you no longer need it, she starts craving your attention. And that's why your growth is her punishment. Not because you intended to hurt her, but because she realizes, too late, that she was never a priority in your journey, just a lesson along the way. Now, think about your own journey and the shifts you've made. Have you ever found yourself too fixated on someone's attention, only to realize your true potential when you redirected your focus? Share your experiences in the comments or simply type, "Growth is the best revenge," to affirm this powerful mindset shift. Your stories inspire others to recognize their worth and prioritize their personal growth. Let's explore together how focusing on ourselves can inadvertently influence how others perceive and value us. Number 7, the echo of your absence. Before, she was used to your presence. Now she feels your absence. You were always there, texting first, checking in, making her feel wanted. She got comfortable knowing you'd always be around, always available. But now, that warmth is gone. And, like an empty house that was once filled with life, she starts to feel the cold sting of loneliness. At first, she might act indifferent. She might tell herself she doesn't care, that your absence doesn't affect her. But as time passes, doubt creeps in. The silence grows louder. She checks her phone, expecting to see your name, but there's nothing. The attention she once took for granted has vanished, and that's when the questions start flooding her mind. Why isn't he reaching out? Did he move on? Was I wrong about him? A woman thrives on certainty. She needs to know she has control, that she can get your attention whenever she wants. But now, the certainty is gone. And when a woman starts to question, she starts to feel something deeper: regret. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Real power is in how little her actions affect you." And that's the shift. You're no longer reacting. You're not waiting. You're not chasing. You're not playing her game anymore. You've taken your power back, and she feels it. She might try to provoke a reaction, posting something to get your attention, sending a casual, "hope you're doing well" text, or trying to make you jealous. But deep down, she knows the truth. She's not reaching out because she misses you. She's reaching out because she misses the control she once had over you. But you remain unmoved, not out of spite, not out of revenge, but because you've evolved beyond needing her validation. You've embraced the strength of absence, the power of indifference. And that's what truly makes her suffer. Because now she knows. She didn't just lose a man. She lost a man who knew his worth. Number 8. When she starts chasing you. She thought she had you figured out. She thought you'd always be there, always responding, always eager to prove your worth to her. She took your presence for granted, assuming she could push and pull as she pleased, knowing you'd always come running. But the second you withdraw your energy, the dynamic shifts. Suddenly, the balance of power tilts. And now, she's the one overthinking. She's the one checking her phone. She's the one wondering why you're so unfazed. At first, she might brush it off. She might tell herself you're just playing hard to get, that you'll come back around. But then days pass, and your silence remains steady. No reaction, no desperate attempts to regain her attention. And that's when doubt starts creeping in. She starts questioning if she misread you, if she underestimated your ability to detach. Now, she's the one watching your every move, wondering if you've moved on, wondering if someone else has caught your attention. But here's where you stay grounded. This is the test. Many men fail at this stage. The moment she circles back, whether through a casual text, a random social media like, or a strategically timed story post, they take the bait. They think they've won. They assume she's had a change of heart and rush to re-engage, only to find themselves back in the same cycle of uncertainty, waiting for her next move, waiting for her to decide whether they are enough this time. A Stoic man remains unmoved. He recognizes the difference between genuine effort and an ego-driven check-in. He knows that just because she reaches out doesn't mean she respects him. Just because she misses him doesn't mean she values him. More often than not, she doesn't truly miss you. She misses the validation, the control, the power she once had. That's why she returns. Not because she's changed, but because she's testing to see if you have. Marcus Aurelius said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." Your power isn't in chasing, nor in punishing. It's in maintaining your peace, no matter what she does. She can flirt, post, reach out, test the waters, but none of it disrupts you. Because now, you see things clearly. You see her patterns. You see how the game is played. And you understand that true strength isn't about getting a reaction. It's about being so centered in yourself that no external force can shake you. And most importantly, you realize that the greatest victory isn't getting her back. It's outgrowing the need for her at all. Reflect on this turning point. Have you ever experienced a moment where stepping back fundamentally changed how someone perceived you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insights can provide valuable perspectives on how personal growth and self-respect transform interactions and shift dynamics in relationships. Let's discuss the strength found in calmness and clarity, and how it shapes our interactions with others. Number 9. Why you shouldn't take her back. Is she really sorry or just missing the attention? That's the question you need to ask yourself before letting her back in. Because when she suddenly starts showing interest again, liking your posts, sending a casual, "Hey, how have you been?" text, or reminiscing about old memories, it's easy to think she's had a change of heart. But has she really? Or is she just realizing that the attention she once had from you is no longer there? Women are drawn to certainty. When you were always there, always available, she had nothing to question. But now she's uncertain. And uncertainty breeds curiosity. She wants to know if she still has an effect on you, if she can still get a reaction, if you're still holding space for her, just in case she decides to walk back through the door. But here's the truth. Just because she returns doesn't mean she values you. Some women don't come back because they've suddenly realized your worth. They come back because they feel the emptiness of your absence. They miss the way you used to make them feel, the validation, the security of knowing you'd always be there. But do they miss you? The man himself? That's the distinction that separates men who get played from men who stand firm. Seneca reminds us, not everything lost should be recovered. And that's a hard lesson most men learn too late. Not everyone who leaves deserves to return. Some people only miss what you provided for them, not who you were. And if you let them back in too easily, you teach them that they can leave and return whenever they please, without consequences. So, test her. Not out of spite, not to manipulate, but to protect your peace. Watch her actions, not just her words. Does she genuinely make an effort to reconnect, to show that she values you? Or is she just throwing breadcrumbs to see if you'll bite? Does she respect your time, your boundaries, your growth? Or is she only interested in making sure she still has a hold on you? A Stoic man doesn't make decisions based on temporary emotions. He doesn't fall for nostalgia or the illusion of change. He observes. He remains still while others act on impulse. If she's coming back because she truly sees your value, because she's ready to meet your standards, then maybe, just maybe, she's worth reconsidering. But if she's only returning to soothe her own ego, to keep you as an option while she explores others, then you already know the answer. Stay grounded, stay focused, and remember, some doors are meant to stay closed, no matter how many times someone knocks. Number 10. A man who walks away wins. There is no greater power than walking away with dignity. She expected drama. She expected you to beg, to chase, to fight for her attention. That's how the game is usually played. Men scramble to prove their worth, while women decide who is worthy. But you chose a different path. You didn't beg. You didn't argue. You didn't plead for an explanation or a second chance. You simply walked away. And that's what she never saw coming. Most men react emotionally when a woman pulls away. They either lash out in frustration or desperately try to fix what's already broken. But a Stoic man? He understands that true strength is in restraint. He doesn't waste energy on what he can't control. He doesn't cling to someone who no longer values him. Instead, he does the one thing that leaves the deepest impact. He chooses peace. Because here's the reality. Silence is more powerful than words. Indifference is more unsettling than anger. The moment she realizes you're not waiting, not hoping, not emotionally tethered to her anymore, that's when the regret sets in. She expected you to fight, to prove your devotion. Instead, she's left alone with the weight of her choices. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." And that's what walking away truly is. Freedom. Freedom from manipulation, from disrespect, from situations that drain your energy. A true Stoic doesn't seek revenge. He seeks liberation from anything that doesn't serve him. And that's the ultimate power. She might come back, she might not. but by the time she realizes your worth, you'll be too far ahead to care. Because the man who walks away with dignity isn't looking over his shoulder. He's too busy moving forward. Take a moment to reflect on the idea of walking away with dignity. How does the concept of choosing peace over conflict resonate with your experiences? Have you ever found liberation in simply letting go? Share your stories in the comments, or if this message strikes a chord, type "freedom in walking away" to affirm the strength it takes to move forward. Let's discuss the profound impact of choosing ourselves and our peace over staying entangled in situations that no longer serve our highest good. Number 11. You were always the prize. She may reach out, she may regret, she may even try to pull you back in, but none of that really matters, because the real transformation isn't happening in her mind, it's happening in yours. There was a time when her words, her actions, her silence dictated your emotions. If she was distant, you felt anxious. If she gave you attention, you felt validated. Your happiness was a reaction to her behavior, a cycle of highs and lows that kept you chasing her approval. But now, everything has changed. The moment you stop looking for external validation, the moment you stop basing your worth on whether she stays or leaves, that's when you become truly powerful. That's when you shift from being a man who reacts to a man who leads. Marcus Aurelius said, "A man's worth is measured by his own actions, not another's opinions." And that's the core of it. It's not about what she thinks, what she does, or whether she misses you. It's about the standards you set for yourself. It's about the discipline you build, the purpose you chase, the life you create. The moment you detach from needing her approval, you take full control of your own destiny. You wake up now with a different mindset. You don't check your phone first thing in the morning hoping for a message. You check your schedule, your goals, your mission. You don't wait for signs of interest. You create opportunities for growth. You don't live in the past, replaying old memories, wondering what could have been. You push forward, knowing that your best days aren't behind you. They're ahead of you. And that's the irony. When you stop needing her, that's when she starts questioning everything. She expected you to react, to be affected, to try and prove yourself. She assumed you'd still be there, waiting, orbiting her world. Instead, you remain steady, indifferent, unshaken. And that shift? That's what commands respect. Because the truth is, once you realize your worth isn't tied to any one person, you've already won, no matter what she does next. Whether she comes back or stays gone, it doesn't change the fact that you've leveled up. You've built yourself into a man who no longer seeks approval, because he knows he never needed it in the first place. That's the power of detachment. That's the strength of a man who walks his own path. And that's why, in the end, it's not her opinion of you that changed. It's your opinion of yourself. And that's the truth, my friend. When you step back, when you reclaim your power, when you refuse to engage in games, the dynamic shifts. You stop chasing, and suddenly, she's the one feeling the absence. She's the one wondering. She's the one realizing that the man she once played with is now the man she can't reach. But here's the key. None of this is about revenge. It's not about manipulation. It's about self-respect. When you embody true Stoic discipline, you don't need to teach her a lesson. Life and time will do that for you. Your silence isn't a tactic. It's a reflection of your growth. And by the time she realizes what she lost, you'll be too busy building, thriving, and becoming the best version of yourself to even care. If this message resonated with you, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps spread the word to others who need to hear it. Drop a comment below and let me know. Have you ever walked away and watched the power shift? And if you're serious about leveling up, check out the videos on the screen right now. They'll take you even deeper into the mindset of a man who refuses to settle. Stay strong, stay disciplined, and as always, keep moving forward. See you in the next one.